Hello, investors or people interested in investing or making some money in the stock market. This is not a financial advice. I'm just reviewing some of the stocks that I'm interested in, and I actually hold all positions in the stocks I'm reviewing, in some of the stocks that I'm reviewing or going to review. So today I'm going to review Gazprom, a Russian oil and gas company. Let's see what happened to Gazprom in 2020. In 2020, Gazprom had experienced a 17.5 drop in revenue, so from 7 million to 6.3 million. Well, that's actually in millions of Russian rubles. Which translated to just 5 rubles per common share versus 53 rubles per common share in 2019, which was a disastrous result. Part of this disastrous result is due to finance expenses. What is finance expenses? Finance expenses in these statements are in Russian rubles. What are the finance expenses? Finance expenses are for Gazprom, the actual interest expenses and interest profits, and plus the foreign exchange differences, because Gazprom exports a lot of gas and oil abroad, Europe, Asia, other countries, and it has to account for the foreign exchange differences. Ruble, for example, ruble depreciated by about 20% to US dollar in 2020. So they had to account for these differences over here. So these are actually accounting expenses, not real expenses. If you consider it, since a lot of profit going to over here is generated abroad, while expenses over here are local, which are generated through the devalued Russian ruble, Gazprom is actually benefiting from the tanking Russian ruble. However, let's continue to look at the financial statements and let's see what kind of disaster was 2020. I think everybody knows that in 2020, the year was bad for practically any business. So that 70.5% drop in revenue was kind of expected. Simultaneously, we have to remember that US printed about, I think, close to 30%, increased their money M2 money supply by close to 30%. Europe, I think it is 12 or 14%. So we are probably entering an inflationary environment where we can expect prices to go up in prices of most of the goods to go up in value, but maybe 20 or 30%, if not more. So, however, let's look at, I'm interested in Gazprom due to dividends, dividend payouts. So I'm interested, so you may say, are those incomes reliable? Is Gazprom going to survive because it's going through a lot of problems, a lot of fights with around some of its projects? So let's see what's going on with Gazprom's liabilities. So current liabilities, current assets, a very, very healthy ratio. Long-term assets, long-term liabilities, again, extremely healthy ratio. I guess many big oil and gas companies will look at these ratios with an envy. But then you're going to say again, please look at the finance expenses, which are huge. Fair enough. Let's look at the finance expenses. Note 31, finance expenses. Interest income, interest expense of which is almost completely covered by the interest income. So Gazprom does incur interest expense, but it's covered by the interest income that it receives from some of its investments. The rest of the foreign exchange gain and foreign exchange loss, again, those are accounting entries due to the discrepancies of revelation of financial transactions. So these are not really cash items. They are not affecting the real cash flow of the company. So let's take a look at the cash flow statement. Maybe there are some troubles there. So cash flow from operating activities, surprise, surprise, cash flow from operational activities actually increased in 2020. So no troubles here. Capital expenditures actually went down in 2020. So again, Gazprom is has been investing a lot of the past 10 years and is closing down on some it built some of its projects. So it built a pipeline to China. It's finishing up its pipeline to Germany. So it's finished up pipeline to Turkey. So it's really phasing out a lot of projects. So capital expenditures are going down, and revenue from those projects is just starting to drip into the cash flow from the operations and profits. So free cash flow generated in the disastrous 2020, 373 billion rubles. So which translates to 15.7 rubles per common share. Common share on Moscow Stock Exchange is currently, we are at August 14th, 2021. So it's, I think, roughly 290. So, well, good free cash flow per common share. Healthy, quite healthy. I think it's around 6.5%. So quite good. Again, quite good in a disastrous year. Let's move forward. Let's roll to the first quarter of 21. Again, things in the first quarter of 21 started to recover. Natural gas prices on average recovered to roughly 240, I believe 240 to 260 dollars per 1,000 cubic meters. They went down in 2020. They went down to about 80 rubles or $80 per 1,000 cubic meters. So prices recovered to about the normal levels, just slightly above their normal levels. So consequently, the revenue recovered compared to first quarter of 2020 by 31%. Simultaneously, Gazprom experienced growth in cost of goods of 22%. Again, everything looks healthy. The net result is 465 billion rubles in profit for just one quarter. Again, if you look at the finance expenses, ruble stopped fluctuating against the euro and American dollar, so we don't see those crazy finance expenses again, just accounting entries. And if we look at the profit profit for the quarter per share, it is 18, well, almost 19 rubles per share. At the end of 2020, or I believe it was in the first quarter of 2021, Gazprom said that it's going to distribute 50% of adjusted net profit per share to as dividends. So just in the first quarter of 2021, Gazprom generated 8 to 9 rubles in dividends per share. Again, current price per share is around 290. So we are looking at, let's assume just 8 rubles for the first quarter divided by 290. So we generated almost 3% in dividends for just 1 quarter of 21. Let's see what happened in other financial statements. So again, cash flow from operating activities for the first quarter of 21 increased. We see the capital stagnating capital expenditures. So again, no surprises here. So again, positive cash flow. So all good. Everything looks very, very, very safe and reliable. Liabilities, again, current assets, current liabilities, everything looks healthy. Long-term assets, long-term liabilities, again, very, very, very healthy ratios. So returning to the financial statements, almost 3% in 3% in dividends just from the first quarter. However, right now it is August 14th, 21, and European gas prices are standing at $550 per 1,000 cubic square meters, while in the first quarter they were roughly 240, 260 per 1,000 cubic meters. So we see a 2 times increase in natural gas prices. Simultaneously, we don't see we are close to fall, so temperatures are going to decrease. The storage facilities in Europe are still at their record lows, and so Europe is going to need more gas, and probably progressively more, potentially progressively more gas. So there are no reasons to expect natural gas prices to decrease dramatically. So we can now do some extrapolations and some of financial results, and with some level of certainty. Gazprom said that for the first 6 months of 2021, sales increased by 46%. I'm going to make an assumption that sales are going to increase in 2021 overall by 40%. So again, I'm going to make more conservative assumptions. I'm not going to extrapolate those 46%. I'm going to assume that from now on, gas prices, as of today, gas prices are going to slide back to their regular level of 260, 240 dollars per 1,000 cubic meters. I kind of don't believe this, but let's make this assumption that they increased to gas prices increased to August 2021, and then they slid back to the same level from where they started the year. So then we can conservatively expect revenue growth of 40% compared to 2020. Then we're going to extrapolate 25% growth in cost of goods sold. Again, I'm taking more conservative numbers. And then based on these numbers, we have an almost 10-fold increase in the net profit. Over 10-fold increase in the net profit for the year compared to 2020. Again, I'm removing these crazy foreign exchange losses and reverting them to more of a historical numbers. At these numbers, we can then derive the per share profit numbers. So per share, now we can expect an almost $80, rubles per share income. Right now on the Moscow Stock Exchange, the current price of the common share of Gazprom is roughly 290. So at 80 rubles per share, that comes to an over 27% return per share. Great. You may say, okay, so, but that's not going to be all distributed. Yes, that's true. Gazprom is promising to distribute only 50% of that profit, and Gazprom has been in line over the years with their promises. So no Putin propaganda there. At least it hasn't been over the past 10 years. So assuming a 50% dividend payout, we can expect 40 rubles, a return of dividend return of 40 rubles per share. 40 rubles per share at 29 rubles a share, that comes to almost 14% return. Let us assume that dividends gets cut for some reason, that there will be some unforeseen events, the company decides to be sold, decides to enter into some new contractual obligations to develop some new pipelines. There are again talks to develop a pipeline, a new pipeline to China through Mongolia. There may be some unforeseen events or new expenses into Northern Stream 2. It doesn't look like it's going to happen, but well, let's assume some new expenses, and let's cut this dividend by 30%. Then we end up with a dividend of 30 rubles per share, which is again over 10% in dividends in the worst case scenario. Again, then I extrapolated my results into the following years. I do expect gas prices to decrease from the current level of 550 per 1,000 cubic meters. These are extraordinary prices. They are unlikely to stay at this level, however, they may. Simultaneously, I do expect the Turk Stream and pipeline to China to deliver more gas. So I do expect revenue growth over the years. So I do expect some decrease in the income in 2022, and then I expect the increase in sales of gas to produce new higher dividends. Again, these are just my expectations. I could be right, I could be wrong. However, based on these financial statements, 10% dividend looks at current level looks like almost a certainty. If you liked this review, subscribe, like my video. I'll put more reviews of Russian stocks, which are giving huge dividends and are making me rich. Thank you. Goodbye.